The sky was clear that night. People all over Earth looked up at the stars, wondering what secrets the universe held. But far beyond the stars, something dark was moving. Something big. Something dangerous. The Galactic Empire was coming. In the Deep Space Monitoring Center, the brightest scientists stared at their screens. Suddenly, the alarm started ringing. The computers showed a massive fleet heading straight for Earth. The Galactic Empire, the strongest force in the galaxy, was on its way to attack. Dr. Sarah Malik, the chief scientist, felt her heart race. She knew what this meant. The Galactic Empire was not just a myth or story. They were real, and they wanted to conquer Earth. She quickly gathered her team. "We must warn the world," she said with urgency. "The Galactic Empire is coming." Across the globe, governments were alerted. Military commanders prepared their troops. People were scared, but many hoped Earth's defenses would be enough. The Galactic Empire had destroyed many planets, but Earth had something special, something no one expected. In the capital city, President John Harris spoke to the people. His voice was calm but serious. "My fellow citizens, we face a great threat. The Galactic Empire is coming to our home, but Earth is not weak. We have fought many challenges before. We will stand strong and fight back. Prepare yourselves, help is on the way." The news spread fast. Videos showed spaceships appearing in the sky. Satellites confirmed the presence of a huge fleet moving closer every hour. Schools closed. People stayed inside. Cities prepared for war. Among the people was a young pilot named Alex Torres. He had trained his whole life for moments like this. He looked at the sky with determination. "This is our fight," he said. "We will protect Earth." As the Galactic Empire fleet approached, the Earth Defense Forces gathered their ships. It was the largest fleet Earth had ever seen. Fighters, cruisers, and powerful weapons stood ready. But the Galactic Empire was different. Their ships were enormous, armed with deadly lasers and shields that could destroy anything. Earth scientists studied the enemy technology and looked for weaknesses. Days passed. The tension grew. Families prayed. Soldiers trained harder. The question on everyone's mind was simple. Could Earth survive? Suddenly, on a cold morning, the first ships of the Galactic Empire entered Earth's orbit. The silence broke. The world watched as the invasion began. The Galactic Empire's commanders sent a message to Earth. Their voice was cold and full of power. "Earthlings, surrender now. Your world belongs to the Galactic Empire. Resistance is useless." But Earth's leaders refused to give up. They sent back a message: "We will fight for our home. Earth will never surrender." The first attack came without warning. Massive beams of energy blasted Earth's defenses. Buildings shook. People screamed. But Earth's forces responded quickly. Pilots like Alex flew into battle. They dodged lasers and fired back. Explosions lit the sky. The war had begun. In the midst of chaos, Dr. Malik and her team worked day and night. They studied the enemy's technology, trying to find a way to stop the invasion. Then, they discovered something strange. The Galactic Empire ships were strong but slow to react. They had a weakness in their shields. If Earth could hit the right spot, the Empire's ships would fall. The leaders called a secret meeting. Plans were made. Earth's forces would use this knowledge to fight back. The battle was not over yet. Outside, the Galactic Empire's fleet grew larger. They believed victory was near, but Earth was ready to surprise them. Alex prepared for another mission. His ship was loaded with new weapons designed to target the enemy's weak points. He felt nervous, but proud. "This is for Earth," he whispered as he flew into the dark sky. The stars seemed to watch silently. The fate of Earth was about to be decided. Would the Galactic Empire conquer, or would Earth stand tall? The first chapter of this war was just beginning. The sky was no longer peaceful. The quiet before the storm had disappeared, replaced by the sound of engines and alarms. The people of Earth watched the skies with wide eyes and heavy hearts. The great ships of the Galactic Empire were closer now. and the first signs of battle were beginning. In the control room of Earth's main defense center, the room was full of energy. Officers and scientists worked side by side, watching the screens carefully. The giant fleet of the Galactic Empire was slowly moving closer to Earth's surface. It was larger than anyone had imagined. Captain Alex Torres stood in front of his squadron. His eyes were steady, his voice calm but full of determination. "Remember what we are fighting for. Our home, our families, our future. Stay focused. We can protect Earth." Outside the windows, the sky was lit by the glow of ships entering Earth's atmosphere. The first attack was about to begin. Suddenly, the Galactic Empire's ships fired bright beams of energy toward Earth's defense stations. The beams touched the shields that surrounded cities and bases. The shields held strong at first, but the constant pressure made them flicker. People on the ground watched as the sky filled with light. The sound of distant blasts shook the ground. It was a test of strength. The Empire wanted to see how Earth would respond. Alex's squadron launched into the sky. Their small fighter ships moved quickly, weaving through the larger enemy vessels. The pilots knew every second counted. They aimed to protect the cities below and stop the enemy ships from landing. Alex's fingers tightened on the controls. He moved his ship like a dancer, fast and smooth. His heart beat hard, but his mind was clear. This was not just a fight. It was a chance to show the Galactic Empire that Earth was strong and ready. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Malik and her team worked faster than ever. They analyzed the beams the enemy used and studied the shields that protected their cities. They looked for any chance to turn the battle in Earth's favor. "Look here," Sarah said, pointing at her screen. "The enemy's beams have a pattern. If we time our defense systems right, we can weaken their attack." Her team nodded. They worked together, adjusting Earth's defenses. Every small improvement could save thousands of lives. As the battle went on, something unexpected happened. The Galactic Empire's ships started to change their tactics. Instead of focusing on large areas, they aimed for specific targets. Their commanders wanted to break Earth's defenses quickly. Alex noticed the change. "They are trying to confuse us," he said to his squadron. "We have to stay calm and work as a team." The pilots spread out, protecting each other and covering more ground. They blocked the enemy ships from getting too close to the cities. Alex's squadron became a shield in the sky. Meanwhile, Earth's armies on the ground prepared for what might come next. Soldiers worked to strengthen barriers and help civilians move to safer places. The people of Earth showed great courage. Even in fear, they helped one another. Hours passed, but the battle was far from over. The Galactic Empire's fleet was powerful, but Earth's defense was smart and determined. Each side learned from the other, changing their moves like a game of chess. At one moment, Alex's ship was surrounded by enemy fighters. He stayed calm and used the skills he had trained for all his life. Slowly, he found a way through, breaking free and returning to his squadron. His friends cheered when he landed safely. "You did great," one said. "Earth needs heroes like you." Alex smiled but knew the fight was just beginning. The Galactic Empire had many more ships and they were still coming. In the command center, the leaders discussed their next move. They knew they had to act fast. Dr. Malik suggested using a new technology they had developed in secret. It was risky, but could change the battle. The leaders agreed to try. Alex was chosen to pilot the first test of the new weapon. It was a heavy responsibility, but he was ready. As night fell, the battle continued. The stars looked down silently, watching Earth's brave fighters face the vast fleet. The hope of a planet rested on the courage of a few. Alex looked up at the stars and whispered, "We will protect our home, we will not give up." The battle for Earth had entered a new stage. The real test of strength, courage, and heart was about to begin. Dark clouds floated over the sky, not from weather, but from the remains of the long day. The battle in the upper atmosphere had shaken the world. Cities below still hummed with alert signals, and power grids flickered from the energy drained by the planetary shields. People stayed inside, holding on to hope as Earth's defenders stayed in the sky. At the main Earth command station, Leaders and scientists gathered in silence. The room was filled with blinking screens and tired faces. Captain Alex Torres stood, near Dr. Sarah Malik, both watching the data flow. The Galactic Empire had not given up. Their ships remained in orbit, waiting, observing, searching for Earth's weakest moment. Everyone knew a second strike could come at any time. But something had changed. Alex pointed to a screen showing the pattern of the Empire's ships. "They've pulled back just slightly," he said. "It's not a retreat, they're planning something." Dr. Malik nodded. "I think you're right. They've started moving their ships in a strange formation. Maybe they're protecting something or hiding it." She zoomed in on the pattern and her eyes widened. "They're focusing around one command ship. That must be the brain of their operation. If we find a way to reach that ship, maybe we can change the direction of this entire fight." Alex's heartbeat rose. "We'd need to get close without being seen." Sarah turned to him, her voice calm but serious. "You'll need to take a team and try. This might be our only chance." Outside, Earth's skies began to clear for a short moment. The clouds parted just enough for the stars to peek through, again. Hidden in those stars were ships waiting quietly like shadows before a storm. Alex gathered his small squadron. Each pilot had been carefully selected, fast, focused, and ready to follow him into the unknown. Their mission was different now. This wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about taking a risk that could end the entire invasion. "We fly low," Alex told them, pointing to the holographic map. "We'll stay in the blind zone of their sensors. If we're lucky, they won't notice us until it's too late." One of the pilots, a quiet woman named Ray, looked up. "And what, if we aren't lucky?" Alex didn't smile. "Then we do what we came to do anyway. For Earth." Their ships launched into the sky just before sunrise. The world beneath them glowed in soft light, untouched and beautiful. Above, the blackness of space waited, along with the eyes of their enemy. As the squadron reached the outer atmosphere, they switched off their comms and went completely silent. Their ships glided like ghosts, avoiding every patrol, hiding behind debris and shield shadows. The journey was long, tense, and quiet. Not a single word was spoken. Inside the Empire's command ship, the enemy commander studied Earth's behavior with interest. His eyes narrowed at the defense patterns. "They are learning," he said quietly to his officers. "They adapt quickly, but it won't be enough." He had no idea that a small group of Earth ships was now just beyond his sensors, hiding in plain sight. Back on Earth, Dr. Malik continued to monitor everything she could. Though she had no live updates from the squadron, her instincts told her Alex was still out there. She turned to the engineers. "Prepare the next phase of our plan. If they succeed, we must be ready." Meanwhile, Alex and his team reached the edge of the Empire's command field. There, in the center of a circle of glowing ships, floated the core vessel. It was large, calm, and cold. Alex whispered, "There it is." The team slowed their ships, hiding behind a drifting satellite. They activated a scan and confirmed it. This ship controlled most of the enemy fleet's decisions. If it could be disabled, the entire formation might fall apart. The plan was simple, but risky. Two of the pilots would create a small energy pulse that mimicked natural space signals. It would distract the ship's security systems for a few seconds, just enough time for Alex and Ray to fly close and release a new device Dr. Malik had built. It wasn't a weapon. It was a signal disruptor. Once attached to the command ship's surface, it would send false messages, confusing the fleet and giving Earth a small but important advantage. Everything had to go perfectly. They waited, checked their positions, then moved. The distraction pulse was activated. For 5 seconds, every enemy sensor blinked. Alex and Ray shot forward like arrows. Their hands were steady, eyes sharp. They reached the ship's edge and carefully launched the disruptor. It floated slowly through space, locked onto the hull, and clicked in place. A soft light flashed. The signal began its work. Back on Earth, monitors lit up. "The enemy's coordination is changing," shouted an officer. "They're slowing down." Dr. Malik leaned in. It's working. The squadron turned and began the journey home, still unseen. In the Empire's command ship, confusion spread. Orders were being delayed. Signals didn't match. The commander stood up, his voice rising. "What's happening? Fix this now." But the damage was done. The fleet was out of sync. Ships drifted slightly out of formation. Patterns broke. And, for the first time, Earth had a chance to strike back, not with power but with precision and planning. As the squadron landed back on Earth, cheers echoed through the base. People clapped, cried, and hugged. But Alex didn't smile. "Not yet. This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "We made our move. Now we wait for theirs." Above them, the stars continued to shine. But somewhere out there, the Galactic Empire was struggling to understand how Earth had outsmarted them. And what would happen next? No one knew. The early morning light touched the surface of Earth, but the sky still carried a quiet tension. People walked carefully, eyes watching. The news screens, ears catching the distant sounds of defense systems powering up again. Though the enemy fleet had paused, no one believed it was over. At the Central Defense Station, Captain Alex Torres sat beside Dr. Sarah Malik, both silent, both deep in thought. The signal disruptor they had placed on the enemy command ship was working. It had slowed the Galactic Empire's moves, caused confusion in their ranks, and gave Earth a small moment of peace. But moments like this were rare. And short. "We shook their plan," Alex said quietly. "But what if they find the disruptor? What if they fix everything?" Dr. Malik adjusted her glasses and looked at the data. "Then we'll need a new plan before they do." Outside the window, the sky looked calm. But far above, beyond the atmosphere, the Empire's fleet floated like dark islands in space. They were still there, silent, watching, thinking. In space, inside the great command ship of the Empire, the High Commander stood motionless. His officers worked to find the cause of the strange signal patterns, but nothing made sense. Commands were lost. Responses came too late. It was not the strong, perfect system they were used to. He walked to the window, looking down at Earth. "This world is not like the others," he said softly. "It moves quickly. It learns. It answers with thought, not fear." Back on Earth, an unexpected signal arrived at the defense center. It wasn't an attack or a scan. It was a message. Sarah frowned. "It's coming from one of their ships." "Translate it," Alex said. A few seconds later, the message appeared on the screen. "You are not what we expected. Your world shows strength not through force but through will. Speak with us, explain who you are." The room went silent. No one had expected this. The enemy asking to speak? The same enemy that had arrived in giant ships ready to take control. Without warning, "What do we do?" someone whispered. Alex looked at the message again. "We answer them." Dr. Malik hesitated. "Are you sure? It could be a trick." "It could," Alex nodded. "But it could also be the first step to peace." They prepared a message. It was simple and honest. "We are people who protect our home. We are not perfect, but we care for our world. We didn't ask for this. We only want peace, not control." The message was sent. Then came the wait. Hours passed. In the sky, the enemy ships remained still. The world held its breath. Some people stayed close to their families. Others continued working, keeping the systems running and the cities safe. Finally, another message arrived. It was brief. "We will meet. One ship, no weapons. One of ours will speak with one of yours." Sarah and Alex read it carefully. It didn't sound like a trap, but it was still a risk. "We should go," Alex said. "If they're willing. To talk, we have to try." Sarah agreed. "I'll go with you." A small transport ship was prepared. It was clean, unarmed, and carried nothing but communication tools and translation systems. As it lifted into the air, people watched from below, unsure of what would happen next. They flew high, through the clouds, past the last layer of Earth's atmosphere until the great ships of the Empire came into view once more. One ship had moved forward just as promised. It was smaller, sleeker, shaped like a silver leaf floating in the stars. Alex and Sarah's ship connected to the Empire vessel through a shared dock. The air was quiet. Gravity returned slowly as they stepped into the passage between the two ships. Inside, the room was calm. No guards, no traps, just one figure waiting. Tall, wearing light armor and with eyes that showed both curiosity and caution. "I am Laren," the figure said. "I speak for my people." Alex gave a small nod. "I'm Alex. This is Dr. Sarah, Malik. We speak for Earth." There was a long silence. Then Laren asked a question that surprised both of them. "Why did your world not run when we came?" Alex looked at Sarah, then answered. "Because we've learned that running doesn't save what matters. Sometimes standing still is the strongest thing you can do." Laren walked slowly toward the window. Stars shimmered beyond. "In many worlds we have visited, we never asked questions, we arrived, we took, it was simple." "But Earth is not simple," Sarah said. "We're complicated, we argue, we struggle, but we grow, we survive." Laren turned. "You placed something on our ship. It changed the way our systems talk to each other. You could have used it to destroy us, but you didn't." "We don't want to destroy anyone," Alex replied. "We only wanted to stop the attack." Laren studied them for a long moment. Perhaps this was not meant to be a battle after all. Then quietly he added, "Perhaps this was meant to be a lesson." Back on Earth, the defense center watched as the signal between the two ships stayed strong. The enemy fleet hadn't moved. Neither had Earth's defense systems. Alex, Sarah, and Laren continued talking for hours. They shared stories, not of weapons, but of people, of struggle, of survival, of learning from the past. And far above, as two sides began to understand one another for the first time, the stars remained silent witnesses. The real change had just begun. The space between the two ships remained silent, but the meaning carried across galaxies. The quiet was no longer empty. It was thoughtful. It was full of the unknown. As Captain Alex Torres and Dr. Sarah Malik returned to their transport ship, the air felt different. Laren, the Empire's envoy, had remained behind, but his final words echoed in their minds. "This meeting may not end the distance between us, but perhaps it has drawn the first bridge." The journey back to Earth was slow, not due to distance, but because their thoughts moved even slower. No one spoke during the descent. The stars seemed softer now. The clouds that once looked like shields now looked like blankets wrapped around a changing world. When their ship touched down, people gathered outside the base, their eyes filled with questions. Some expected news of victory. Others expected warnings of another battle. What they got was neither, and yet far more important. Alex stepped forward and simply said, "They talked." The silence that followed was heavy and full. Then whispers moved through the crowd. Not panic, not anger, just quiet wonder. Dr. Malik returned to the command room. Screens flickered with updates from around the world. The Empire's ships remained, in orbit, but none had moved. No new signals, no threats, just stillness, watching, listening. "We have time," she said softly. "For the first time, we have time." Meanwhile, deep within the Empire's fleet, Laren stood before his council. They were the highest minds of their kind. Strategists, explorers, advisors. Some were ancient, some young, but all were uncertain. "You spoke with them?" one counselor asked, not hiding his doubt. "I did," Laren replied calmly. "They do not see the stars as something to claim. They see them as something to understand." Another counselor frowned. "And do they fear us?" "They fear loss, like we all do, but they also hold hope, and that hope is more powerful than fear." Whispers moved through the chamber. This was not the kind of report they had expected. "They do not want to control us," Laren added. "They want to protect what they love." The room fell into silence, not because of weakness, but because something old had been shaken, an idea that power came only from control. Earth had not resisted with force, but with thought, heart, and careful action. Back on Earth, messages began arriving from the world's people. Children wrote letters to the stars. Artists painted new dreams of what the sky might hold. Scientists worked day and night to understand the language of the enemy. Now maybe not an enemy, but something more complex. In schools, students asked teachers, "Are they like us?" And teachers replied, "Maybe more than we thought." In the days that followed, a new signal came through. It was not a threat, not a command, just a shared piece of knowledge, a map, a history, a window into the world of the Galactic Empire. Dr. Malik read it aloud to her team. "They are showing us where they came from." Alex leaned in. "It's not just a message. It's trust." People around the planet watched as space stations received updates and strange symbols, slowly decoded into stories. The Empire had once been explorers. Long ago, they had searched for others, not to conquer, but to connect. But time, loss, and fear had changed them. Now, Earth was showing them a reflection of what they once were. Soon, Earth replied. Scientists, writers, children, and thinkers all contributed. They sent back pictures of cities, rivers, forests, oceans, and even music. They sent sound recordings of laughter, of birds, of storms, and the wind. They sent messages in many languages, not to teach, but to share. The Galactic Empire watched, listened, and slowly began to respond. Not with words, but with light. Soft colors moved across their ships. Patterns of shape and rhythm, a language of stars. A way of saying, "We are here, and we hear you." Alex stood outside one night looking up at the sky. His communicator buzzed. "It's from Lyran," Sarah said on the other end. "He wants to meet again." "Then let's meet." This time the meeting wasn't on a ship in space. It was on Earth. A quiet field outside the city, far from the noise, full of wind and grass and open sky. Lyran arrived in a small shuttle, alone, no guards. No weapons, just trust. Alex and Sarah greeted him. No speeches, no plans, just people talking. They sat under the stars, and Lyran looked around. "Your world is alive, every part of it." Sarah nodded. "And so is yours. You just forgot how to see it." Lyran looked down, thoughtful. "Maybe, but now I remember." They talked all night, about Earth, about the Empire, about time, loss, and change. And when the sun began to rise, Lyran looked toward it with a quiet smile. "This is not what I expected," he said. Alex replied. "Neither did we." "But sometimes," Lyran added, "the best things are the ones you never planned." When he returned to his ship, the other vessels in orbit shifted slowly, not away. Not forward, just repositioning. Not to attack, but to see better. Something was changing. Across the stars, between two worlds, the sky was opening, and the future was waiting, not as a battle, but as a beginning. The world felt different. Though everything looked the same, the sky still turned blue at dawn. The winds still moved through the trees. Cities still bustled with life, and children still ran in the streets. But something unseen had shifted. Something deep. It was not just Earth anymore that had changed. It was the space around it. The silence between stars was no longer empty. At the Earth Defense Council building, the main screen showed something unexpected. A signal. But it wasn't coded or secret. It was open. It was bright. A map had been shared, not of war zones, but of peaceful paths, safe travel routes between stars. "They've sent a path," Dr. Sarah Malik whispered. "An invitation." Captain Alex Torres stood beside her. Not to take, not to control, just to visit. They both understood the meaning. This was not a plan for war. It was a door A door to something Earth had always wondered about but never truly believed would come. Peaceful contact. Leaders across the planet met quickly. Some were excited. Others were cautious. But none rejected the possibility. "What if we go?" one leader asked. "And what if we don't?" another replied. In the end, it was decided Earth would answer. Not with just a message this time, but with a step forward. A new ship was built not for defense but for discovery. It was designed by minds from all over the world, scientists, engineers, artists. Even school children had drawn ideas for its shape, and the designers had used many of them. The ship's name was chosen by the people, Hope-bound. As it prepared to launch, the world watched. Not with fear, but with wonder. It wasn't just a ship. It was a symbol. A promise that Earth was ready not just to protect its skies, but to share its skies too. On the day of the launch, Laren returned. The envoy of the Galactic Empire stood quietly at the base, his hands behind his back, his eyes watching as Earth's first peaceful starship shimmered under the sunlight. "This ship will go where none of ours have gone," Alex said to him. "It will carry our hopes, not our fears." Laren nodded. "We will walk beside it." Indeed, several Empire ships would travel near Earth's new ship, not to lead and not to watch, but simply to be there, like neighbors walking the same road. Dr. Malik handed Laren a small tablet. It was filled with Earth's history, not just facts, but music, stories, dreams, and even laughter. Laren accepted it carefully. "These are your treasures?" "They are," Sarah said with a smile. "They are what make us who we are." "I will keep them safe," he replied. As the countdown to launch began, people gathered in every city, village, and island across the globe. Screens lit up, voices fell quiet, and then with a gentle burst of light, Hope-bound rose into the sky. No smoke, no noise, just soft power, quiet strength, and shining beauty. Higher and higher it went, until it became a star itself. Children pointed and waved. Elders closed their eyes and smiled. Even those who had doubted now felt something rise inside them, a feeling they hadn't known in years. Possibility. Out in space, the ship moved gracefully past the orbit of the Empire vessels. One by one, those ships turned their lights in rhythm. Blue, then white, then blue again. It was a sign of respect. A quiet greeting. From the command deck of Hope-bound, the crew looked out into the vastness ahead. There was no clear destination, just a direction. But that was enough. Alex spoke through the ship's comm system. "We step forward not because we know what's ahead, but because we believe in the journey." Sarah added, "This is not an..." And it is our first page in a bigger story. They passed the moon, then Mars, then beyond, and soon, Earth became a soft circle behind them, a glowing blue jewel in the darkness, small and yet so full of life and courage. From the Empire ship nearby, Laren watched with quiet pride. In all his years of travel, he had never felt this. Not power, not duty, but peace. And it felt stronger than anything he had ever known. Back on Earth, people didn't return to normal life. They returned to a better one. Nations worked together more easily. Cities shared power and knowledge. Art and science grew hand in hand, and in the sky each night the people looked up, not with fear but with questions. Good questions, the kind that lead to learning, the kind that lead to wonder. Some nights, if you watched carefully, you could see a line of lights, small, moving gently across the stars. That was Hope-bound and her companions, still on their path, still learning, still sharing. Earth was no longer just a world defending itself. It was now a voice in the galaxy, a voice that spoke calmly, clearly, and with care. The Galactic Empire had arrived long ago expecting to take something. Instead, they had found something they didn't know they needed. Connection. In time, many other worlds would hear Earth's message. Some would be afraid, some would be curious. But all would listen, because Earth had shown something powerful, Even the smallest world can light the darkest sky. And sometimes, the greatest strength comes from a simple choice, not to fight, but to understand.